All right, Shalom. I want to start by saying, HALAL, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, KAKADASH. Double honors to the apostles of Israel, aka the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. All right, real quick, I want to get into something came across today, and it was regarding when it says this is from Newsweek, and by the thumbnail, that's what I took from. It says from Newsweek, it says, shit. Spain closes airspace to U.S. military. Now, Spain, the country Spain, is part of the EU and the beast. The EU, which is the beast in Revelation 17 chapter, and it's also part of NATO. So it's an important piece to the puzzle in Esau's kingdom, and then basically the downfall of it. And how prophecy goes according to Revelation the 17th chapter, where it talks about the beast shall hate the whore. Because this is going to become a trend amongst other EU and NATO countries, basically Esau's kingdom being divided. So, I'm going to dive right into it. So it says Spain has stopped any warplanes linked to the U.S. and Israeli war in Iran flying over its territory, likely deepening the existing rift between the United States and one of NATO's most outspoken critics of the U.S. operations in the Middle East. It says the more than 4 weeks of strikes on Iran are illegal and deeply unjust, Spanish Defense Minister Margarita Robles said on Monday. I believe everyone knows that what Spain's position is. It's a very clear position. Spain's left-wing Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has openly condemned U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran since the start of the war on February 28th, which has sparked persistent retaliatory attacks by Iran across the Middle East, while U.S. and small hats troops continue targeting the country. Sanchez, more strident in his criticism of the war than other American allies in Europe, because the EU being the beast that's spoken of in Revelation 17 chapter, branded the conflict an illegal war. The country had already barred Washington from using 2 key air bases in southern Spain, attracting the White House's ire. Now, mind you, it's funny because Trump, I don't know if it's regarding this, but Trump has said something like, if we want to use their airspace, we're going to use it. So basically saying that fuck what they talking about, not letting us use it, they're going to use it anyway. I believe it was talking about the airspace that Trump said a week or two ago. And remember, all this is transpiring within the last month, okay? So it says a White House official, a White House official told Newsweek on Monday that Washington does not need help from Spain or anyone else, and described U.S. operations in Iran as meeting or surpassing the administration's goals. Spain's El Pas newspaper had reported on Monday that the ban on entering Spanish airspace would apply to American aircraft stationed in third-party countries like the UK, which is also part of the beast. It says the beast and the 7 heads in Revelation the 17th chapter. And I'm going to get it, Lord willing, to be edifying, but I'm going to finish this article because there's actually 2 articles I want to bring out. So it says Sanchez told lawmakers in the Spanish capital on Wednesday that this last Wednesday, so it said that the country's authorities have rejected all flight plans linked to operations in Iran, but did not elaborate. Spanish government officials quickly said at the start of March that U.S. jets and refueling aircraft would not be allowed to use the jointly operated Rota and Moran bases near the southern cities of Cadiz and Seville, if I'm pronouncing that right, to attack Iran. So this is what Trump was talking about when he said, well, use their airspace if we want. It says, while flight tracking data showed more than a dozen U.S. aircraft left the 2 facilities within days of the start of the war. Trump then threatened to cut off all trade with Spain, labeling the country terrible. Sanchez, meanwhile, doubled down on his government's position, accusing the White House of playing Russian roulette with the destiny of millions. Now, mind you, this is talking about the war that's been just taking place for a month now. And the detriment of it is really causing a stir. It says, shortly after, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt indicated Madrid had agreed to work with U.S. military forces operating in the Middle East. Several Spanish government officials categorically deny any change of heart. So that's another call out of America lying. They said that they won the war. They said that Iran is talking with them. And now they're saying with Spain that they talk with them and whatever. But Spain saying, no, we didn't change no change of heart. You can't use our airspace. But here it is, this same bitch, I think it was Caroline Levitt, who said that they said somebody's lying. They said, oh, how can you trust Iran that lies and XYZ when this government lies, XYZ. It says Spain has been one of the most resistant countries to dramatic increases in European defense spending spurred on by President Donald Trump and his administration. Because remember, this is part of the beast. Spain is part of the seven horns. Excuse me, the 7 heads in Revelation 17 chapter where it talks about the beast shall hate the whore. Because Spain is part of the EU. So this is very prevalent that Spain is in this kind of time against America. Because America being the whore in Revelation. Now you got the beast and countries of the beast, Spain. All right, you had I don't know how much they're in it, but you got Turkey talking about something. I know Turkey's part of I want to say Turkey's part of EU and the NATO as well. They're definitely part of NATO, and I believe they're part of the EU. So that country is saying that they want to join against America, join with Iran in this war that's taking place. But anyway. It says, while the U.S. has lashed out at NATO for refusing to become more deeply embroiled in the strikes on Iran, most major players across the alliance have stopped short of biting criticism of the attacks. It said the UK said on March 20th, which was 10 days ago now? It said the UK said on March 20th that it had agreed to allow the U.S. military to use British bases to target Iranian sites in the key Strait of Hormuz shipping lane, which Iran has effectively blocked for the past 4 weeks. The whole duration of this war, basically. It said the British government had only previously permitted U.S. forces to make use of facilities in the country for defensive operations rather than strikes on Iran. So that's another thing that's the beast against the whore. It says Trump called NATO nations cowards for refusing to put forward warships to help reopen the strait through which a fifth of the world's oil and gas typically travels. But they're basically saying like, yo, we're not for what America's doing. So you have 2 countries. You got Spain and you got the UK. That's really basically not really for what they're doing right now against the Iran and what has transpired with the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. It says Iran says it has blocked tankers and cargo ships linked to the U.S., Israel, or its allies from safely passing through the strait. Maritime traffic has tumbled by 90% as global fuel prices soared and share markets wobbled, with pressure on the U.S. to break the deadlock growing. Okay, that's the end of the article. So it's one more article. So they're probably saying the same thing. Bear with me, closing. Closing. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now, this is also from Newsweek, so that's where I also got the thumbnail from. So it says, this is from Newsweek today at 11:20 a.m., updated at 5:59 p.m., which is a couple hours ago. Actually, 2 hours ago, approximately. So it says, White House responds to Spain closing airspace to U.S. military. It said the White House told Newsweek on Monday, which is today, that the United States does not need help from Spain or anyone else after Madrid closed its airspace to U.S. aircraft involved in Iran war, a move that underscores the country's opposition to U.S. and small hat military operations in the Middle East. Now, hold up. Well, wasn't Trump just talking about they wanted help from NATO and the EU and these countries to help them with opening Strait of Hormuz and countries in other continents, I believe in Asia as well? I want to say they asked Japan. So now they're saying that they don't need no help. See, but that's the pride of this devil. That's literally the pride of Esau. All right? But now his pride, his lies is being is called out. And now everybody can see that what they're saying is a bunch of bullshit. But anyway, continuing on. It said the United States military is meeting or surpassing all of its goals under Operation Epic Fury and does not need help from Spain or anyone else, the White House official said. So what the fuck is this? What are you talking about then? Why are you asking these other countries to help? Why are you asking for assistance at all? You already asked for assistance from your allies and from other countries and other besides Europe. So it says Spain closes airspace to U.S. aircraft involved in the Iran war as part of its broader refusal to support U.S. and small hat military operations that the Spanish government has described as illegal and unjust. Hold on, hold up. Let me get the scriptures now. Okay. Okay, Revelation 17. Oops. Now, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 17. I'm going to start at the top. And it reads, And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Now, that great whore is the America, and them great waters, many waters, is of these many nations. Really, mainly the beast, which is the EU/NATO countries, you know? Verse 2 of Revelation chapter 17, it says, With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Now, this is over time as America became a whore that was whoring around. All the nations were made drunk off her madness. But now at the time we had now, it's drying up. To where now the whore is not so, fun or exciting as she once was. All right? Because now she's causing all this trouble. Look all the trouble she's causing. All right? It says, verse 3 says, So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And now we get into the part of the 7 heads and the 10 horns. All right? And the woman that was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, purple and red, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. That's talking about America, man, where all this bullshit has been perpetrated on the earth. That's all the wickedness, all the fornication, and all the filthiness, man. All the lies, all the deception. And now it's coming back to bite this whore in the ass. All right? Verse 5, and it says, And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Now that's what America is known as in the Bible. So you got these people talk about, oh, God bless America, and this, that, and the third. Yeah, he blessed it for a time, but now the blessing is done. Now it's time for judgment. Now it's time for recompense. Now it's time to understand that this wasn't an everlasting kingdom. And it says, And I saw a woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of YAHAWASHI. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So John saw this and he seen the whore and was like, yo, this whore, she got something going for herself. But read this. Reading on, it says, And the angel, verse 7 of Revelation chapter 17, and it said, And an angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. And now as we get into the UK and Spain and America, because America being the whore and Spain and the UK being part of the 7 heads. And 10 horns, actually, technically. 10 horns. Verse 8, and it says, The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they beheld the beast that was and is not and yet is. And verse 9, And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, and those are the 7 governments of the 7 heads. And those 7 heads are the Greeks, the Romans, the Spain, French, Germania Minor, and the Brits. Those make up the beast. Or, excuse me, the 7 heads that the woman is sitting on. And it says, And there are 7 kings 5 are fallen, and one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And those 10 horns represent the EU. I ain't get to the 10 horns yet. So it says in the 7 kings, yeah, so the 7 kings, the 5 that are fallen are the Greeks, the Spanish, French, Germana Minor, and Germana Minor. Germana Minor and Germana Minor. And one is, and the one is here we go. I'll get to my joints. And the one that is the Roman Empire, because actually that's where John was actually living presently when he wrote this. And when he was in the island of Patmos, it was during the Roman Empire. That even is, and is the 8th, and is of the 7 that go over the, and the other that is not yet come, and when he comes, he must continue a short space. And that is actually, I want to say, hold up, because sometimes my memory fucks with me. Oh yeah, and the beast, and that's verse 11. It said, yeah. Hold up. Oh yeah, the one that has not yet come. Yeah, the one that has not yet come is the British, and he cometh, he must continue a short space. Verse 11, and it reads, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. Now that 8th is talking about, the 8th is talking about America, but it came from the 7 because it was spawned from the UK/Britain. All right? Verse 12, and it says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Now that's representing the EU, which UK and the Spain is part of. Right? Excuse me. And it says, these have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord and Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and are called and chosen and faithful. That's talking about the elect, and it's talking about YAHAWASHI, man. And he said, he saith unto me, verse 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Now we're getting into what's taking place now. You got the the Brits, and right now Spain at odds with America, and I believe Germany is too. You had a lot of EU countries, a lot of NATO countries that's not really with what America's doing. For the small hats, because now you see how it's America and really the small hats like really going like a rogue. Okay, you had Trump talk about we need help from EU, we need help from NATO, but now all of a sudden, when Spain and the UK said what they said, now they're saying that you don't need no help from nobody. Because you're winning the war, but you're not winning the war. All right? Verse 16, it said, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Because what? NATO allies, EU allies, Esau's other countries are going to attack America, man. They can bend the bow pertaining to Jeremiah. I want to say the 50th or 51st chapter, where it says, all those that bend the bow, shoot arrows, spare none. So I mean, like, you're going to have so-called white people countries, Europe, shooting missiles at this place. Because it said what? The beast shall hate the whore. The beast being the EU and the whore being America. And you see it right now taking place. They're at odds with the whore. And this is taking place right now that Spain, which is part of the 7 heads, said that America can't fly in their airspace with their whatever their aircrafts pertaining to the war with Iran. Immediately, is this some coincidence? And this is all prophecy coming to pass. Remember, this is the book of Revelations. This is the last book. We are in the last book. We are in the last days. We're in the last, and it said that what? They should continue a short space. Talk about the UK, America, all these motherfuckers, man. Because it's all part of Esau's kingdom. And the Lord said what? For Esau at the end of the world, Jacob's the beginning of it that followed. So this is Esau's kingdom, Esau's world, and it's at the end. And there's nothing they could do about it. There's nothing no one could do about it. You can't go back in time. You can't change the story. You can't stop your destruction. Your country's being destroyed as we speak. The whore is being destroyed as we speak. Hell, the beast is being destroyed as we speak. Because once the beast and the whore are at odds with each other, this kingdom is done. You think about it. Once America is destroyed, Like, once America is destroyed, the whole earth is not going to just be like, all right, well, America's gone, because the whole earth was made drunk off this whore. The whole earth was made rich. It said that the nations lived deliciously from the whore. So once the whore destroyed, they're not going to live deliciously. And that's called law Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, because it's about time. Because the Lord said what? The day of the Lord is upon all the heathen. And all these heathens have been living deliciously off of this whore known as America, Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, so on and so forth, man. And now we're witnessing the prophecies come to pass. Now we're witnessing the end speak. We're hearing the end speak, and it's speaking louder and louder. The beast is hating the whore. And it's pertaining to why there's war, because what? These other nations, part of the beast, the EU and NATO, they're not with this war, because now they know, like, yo, now we're getting closer to our destruction. Hey, man, and that's the way the cookie crumbles, man. That's the way it is. But hey, this is prophecy. The Lord Yahawashi said these things must come to pass. Esau had his time. He had his short season, but now that short season is over. The Lord said the prosperity of the wicked is short. The triumph of the wicked is short. All right? So, with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM RAKAKADASH. Double honors to the apostles of Israel, aka the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and love always to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. Shalom.